everyone, welcome to another week of PTZ Optics Live. I have with me Dr. Andrew Cross. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
You're definitely one of everyone's thought leaders and one of the people in the industry that a lot of people have questions for you about this NEWTEK NDI. Let me first talk a little bit about our show and introduce our show, and then we'll jump right into a lightning round where we can get to know you a little better. So as everyone knows, every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, we broadcast live on YouTube, and this is the show. Thank you so much for being here. We do this show for the live viewers. Thank you so much for being here. If you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, every single week we donate to charity. We donate to a court-appointed special advocacy program where they help children in the court system find families so that they can get adopted and get out of the juvenile court system. So we donate $20 every live show, and then for every like and every subscribe, we add additional dollars up to $250 a week. We've already donated over $15,000, so thank you so much everyone who watches the show and supports us. Very quickly, wanted to review the October, we met with Broadfield and Video Guys, and we talked about their DIY TriCaster system. Last week, we did a camera shootout with Sony, Vadio, and Panasonic and PTZ Optics. This week, we're interviewing Andrew Cross, and then next week, we are having Teradek on the show to talk about their wireless transmission systems. But of course, the big thing on everyone's mind today is the NEWTEK NDI, and I promise you guys, we're going to get some questions answered. We've got the creator here. Andrew, are you ready for the lightning round?
Well, what would happen if I said no? Of course I am.
Okay, well. So Andrew, I'm going to ask, we have 60 seconds. I'm going to ask you a couple questions just to get to know you. Coffee or tea?
Easy, coffee.
Coffee, just like me. Gotta love it. Talking or texting?
Oh, definitely texting.
Texting's great. Are you an emoji guy?
Not really.
Not really, just the quick and easy text. Got it. Android or iPhone?
Oh, easy, iPhone.
iPhone's great. I love the iPhone. What is your favorite movie?
Oh my gosh, I can't answer that in a minute. I watch lots of stuff. Everything.
Okay, that's fine. Favorite book?
You know, I don't read many books. I read online publishing, so scientific papers I read a lot of. Not so much books.
Last question, and we'll go a little bit over just so we can get to know you a little better. If you could travel back in time to watch 24 hours of history unfold, where and when would you go?
You know, I would actually go into the future. I'm excited about where things are going, much more than where things have been. We have the ability to shape the future, so I want to go into the future, not the past.
Sounds good to me. Okay, so we've got a nice little agenda here on the right-hand side. We've got 8 topics, and I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Don't worry if you need to go over, but it's just to keep us on pace, keep us on track. Let's start off with a NEWTEK introduction for those folks who don't know NEWTEK at all.
So NEWTEK, our goal is to make live video accessible to everybody. We want to make it so that anybody who wants to have a broadcast show can have one and can look great doing it. And we want to make it easy to do so. So our kind of company slogan is we want to give everybody a voice through video, and that is what we try to do as best we reasonably can. So we want to enable people. We don't run a company to serve the highest end of broadcast. We want to make it, we want to make products that can change the world of video, because it's got to be fun while we do it. So, we aren't driven just to make money. We want to do more than that. When we all move on to other things, we want to be able to say we made a difference, and I think that that's something that we care a lot about. And we want to make, video is changing the world, and we want to help make that happen, quite frankly.
Sounds good. You're based in San Antonio, Texas, I believe?
That is correct.
Privately owned?
Sorry, what did you say?
Are you guys privately owned?
We are privately owned. We're a 100% private company.
Wonderful. Okay, so next question. We filled out that 60 seconds pretty well. I know. Would you say that the TriCaster is pretty much your lead product?
I would say that. I think that we have become known, particularly in the last year, for doing more than just TriCaster. I mean, obviously NDI has exceeded our expectations, but when it comes to a product, TriCaster is obviously one of our larger products, and it's certainly made a big difference to the market in lots of ways.
So do you want to introduce the TriCaster? Maybe just, I know there's a lot of different models, but do you want, just for those of the people who don't know what the TriCaster is, just briefly?
So the TriCaster is a all-in-one system that really takes everything you need to do a production and puts it into one system. And so, it really, you have to think back 15 years to how production was done. Back then you needed a $2-3 million TV station or $2 or $3 million production truck in order to produce a show. It took a lot of expensive equipment. It was hard to do. It took a lot of people to do. And our goal, as I said, at NEWTEK has always been to enable people and allow anybody to do production who wants to. So what we started off doing is trying to work out how you can take all of that stuff, if you imagine, squeeze it all into a single product that allows one or maybe two operators to run everything and to produce a live show and to make it look as good as what's in it on TV for just a fraction of the cost. And so that's been our kind of overriding goal, with TriCaster. And so, over the years, we started off by taking what was a lot of traditional equipment, media playback, DVRs and camera control and a bunch of the stuff that was in TV stations and kind of squeezed them into the box, made it do that. But as time has gone by, it has started to do more and more and started to kind of redefine what really is the next generation of workflows and how TV is being produced today. So I think it has been very interesting to see how it's evolved into much more than just a replacement for TV studio. And in many ways, it's defining what TV studios become. And that's maybe a more exciting position to be in many ways.
Certainly, and I think that's a great segue because, like you said, that you're becoming known for more than just the TriCaster. Let's talk about this NEWTEK NDI high level at this point, because I know in the Q&A we're going to get a lot of specific questions. So high level, what is the NEWTEK NDI?
Okay, so NEWTEK NDI, the goal of NEWTEK NDI was to, when you look at the industry and when you think about things are going on, you go to IBC, you go to NEB, you hear all this buzz, all these things, you hear about, is it going 4K or 3D or HDR and so on. And I spent a lot of time thinking about all of this. And, I don't know, and probably none of us really know which one of those will take off. But one thing I know for absolutely sure is that 5-10 years from now, we're going to be doing whatever we're going to do, whichever one of those standards it's going to be, or which one of those specs in terms of 4K or HDR or whatever it's going to be, it's going to be done over IP. That is a given. And so, given that, what we decided to do is we said, look, we don't know, there's lots of things you don't know about the future. You don't know about where the industry's going. You don't know what's going to happen. Here's one thing we really do know. It is going to IP. So we really, we said, look, let's help make that happen. Let's focus a lot of our attention on making that happen. Now, we were lucky because TriCaster, if you go way back to the beginning of the TriCaster days, we've actually been doing IP video for a long time. And what we've done is we had kept a lot of this, everything we've gained for our kind of proprietary advantage. We had worked with Chiron, we'd worked with VizRT, we'd worked with a lot of companies, about 40 companies that we'd worked with, and we'd made it so that they could send us video, but just us. But but because we had worked with all of these companies, we built up this kind of workflow that allowed people to exchange video over IP. And so what really came to my mind is, look, why don't we take this? Why don't we take everything we've built up and give it to the industry as a whole to get, this IP revolution started? And that was kind of the thought that drove NDI. And that is actually how it got started. And, and so when we opened this up, even within our company, there was a lot of discussion about this because we were taking a lot of things that we'd done and we've made unique to us. And we were giving them away to everybody, including all of our competitors, helping them. But, at the end of the day, we're all going to gain and the market gets better. We're all going to gain from this. And that is, why we did it at the end of the day. And so, we're very proud of what we've done. I think that it's made a difference that, we only launched this about a year and a half ago. and under no bets that I would have ever made, and I'm not a betting man. But if I'd ever had to predict where it would have gone, I would never ever predicted that we would have as broader adoption among as many people as we have. So, to me, this has just been this exciting ride that I just never expected. So that's the short version of where NDI came from, at least.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's an amazing way to put your company in the center by doing something like this, where instead of going proprietary, you're allowing everyone to use it, and therefore everyone is kind of putting that NDI in the center of so many different companies now and their integration. So my hat is off to you. That's amazing. I was going to go on to customer use case. So now that the NEWTEK NDI has come out, you said you never would have known what's happened. Can you tell us about like a surprising NDI use case or an exciting use case that someone is using the NDI for?
Yes, and quite honestly, I can tell you of loads of them. And so just to answer your question, you're asking about exciting things. I can give you innumerable use cases that you would have expected, but those aren't the those aren't the ones that make me go, wow, I never expected that. So it's been used in broadcast, it's been used in schools, it's been used in sports trucks, it's been used all over the place. But the ones that surprise me and the ones that get me excited are the things that we never expected. And some of the examples are and maybe the most remarkable thing is, I see everybody who's signing up for the SDK, and I mean, and there are a lot of people at this point, really a lot. But every now and then a couple come through and you go, wow, okay, so what are they doing with it? And so when we saw people like XSplit Broadcast make game streaming products that cost just a few dollars a month, they added NDI, and so that was exciting. When you see Epic Games with the Unreal Engine adding NDI, those are ones that I would never have expected. Because when we came out with NDI, we expected that the people in our space and our typical customers would be interested, and a lot of the companies that we work with would be interested. But and maybe this summarizes why I said that this has exceeded all of my expectations, is the fact you have a protocol that is being used, or an IP interchange format that is being used both by Epic Games in Unreal and XSplit Broadcast, who make products that sell for a few dollars, right the way up to VisRT, who make products that are 50, 60 to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the amount of the market that covers is just staggering and quite surprising, and it's almost hard to think that you can download free apps that have NDI, and yet the highest end broadcast apps also have NDI, and that is surprising to me. That's what makes me surprised. I've seen you asked for customer use cases. I'll tell you, I'm seeing it used in nightclubs far more than I expected. I'm seeing it used in huge signage installations. So if you think about like the huge onstage shows where you have massive displays behind the show that you intermix with the show for real-time visualization, we're seeing it used there. Those are all things that to me were not expected. I had never thought about even once when we came out with it, and yet I'm getting sent images of people using it for those things that I just would have never expected.
Well, one of the interesting integration projects that I caught wind of was with Wowza. And apparently it's one of the, I was talking to Michael Cornett about this a little bit, one of the first kind of local area network streaming. There's something unique about it. You probably know better than I do. Can you tell us a little bit about this Wowza integration?
Yeah, so what we have done with Wowza at IBC is we announced a joint product with Wowza. And take a step back. There are lots of video encoders out there. That is a huge market of people who make boxes that encode video. And on one hand, our box does that, but right along with our kind of NEWTEK philosophy, we try not to just make another product, another box like everybody else does. And so when we're obviously very well known in live streaming. I think probably when it comes to money generating broadcasts for live, we probably have the lion's share of that market. Our products used with, so we're very well known there. And we were thinking, how do we take this, take that, and make it accessible to even more people? But, just making an encoding box, that's not exciting. That's just doing the same things as everybody else. So we've been friends with Wowzer for a long time, and so we got to thinking, okay, so what about building a box that does the encoding, but isn't just limited to the encoding, it's also used for the distribution. And so, by working with Wowzer, we thought, look, we can make a product that for companies, for schools, for a whole new audience who don't want to be using YouTube or Facebook to do their broadcast, because there are lots of scenarios where that doesn't make sense. That is a problem that's not being solved by the market right now. So if you make a product that can do the encoding but can also do the distribution, that is something pretty exciting that's not been done. And so that's how this product got started and what it is. Now it obviously goes one step further because it does that distribution, but it also allows you to take it out to the internet as well, so that you can do a local distribution. Say if you're a school, you can distribute your content locally to all of your classrooms, but you can also broadcast it out to Facebook Live and YouTube at the same time. Or if you are an enterprise, if you're a company. So companies have a unique problem, because if you have a few hundred employees, you probably don't have enough bandwidth into your building to even have all of your employees watch it online. It's just, your pipe into the building's not wide enough for every one of them to display it. So you often want to broadcast locally, but you can still make it accessible to people on the, through the traditional outlets as well. So that's the basics of the product. And, I'm excited because this is not just another encoding box. This is so much more than that, and it solves problems that I think nobody else has solved. And that's exciting. And I think Wowzer I think it's a great partnership. We're really excited to work with Wowzer. I mean, we have, kind of the best live streaming, integrated production tools, combining with, Wowzer, who make, without a doubt, they're the largest player by far in the distribution market. So this is a pretty exciting project.
Yeah, and it's a great integration, obviously. Speaking of integrations, let's talk a little bit about the integrations that we've worked on together here at PTZ Optics and NEWTEK.
So, we've worked closely with PTZ Optics for years now. I think that, we've got multiple integration points. I mean, obviously we can control PTZ Optics cameras, and I should say, because I don't, I can tell you that within TriCast our integration with PTZ Optics cameras is about to get a whole heck of a lot better than it was in terms of, how responsive the control is. So that's kind of a little tidbit for anybody who has PTZ Optics cameras who uses TriCasters. That's a patch that we're going to release very soon that just makes that integration far, far better than it is today. But we, as exciting is the fact that we can pull the stream directly off the PTZ Optics cameras in IP, and we can translate that into an NDI feed through NDI Connect. But that, there's so much more, and I think, all I can tease is that PTZ Optics and NEWTEK are working very, very closely on some things that make all of this integration an awful lot better. And I think that I think we share very much the vision with PTZ Optics that very here soon in the future we're going to be going all IP. You're going to be controlling your cameras directly, and you're going to have everything just work if it's on the same network. And so I think that we're only at the beginning when it comes to integration here, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we just released a couple weeks ago that we're building PoE into the cameras, so it's not far away to think that one IP connection to the camera could power it, control it, and hopefully have zero latency live video off of it. So that's where we're headed. Let's talk a little bit about the future. I wanted to briefly mention that you've been nominated for the Streaming Media Awards for Best Encoding Box. Congratulations. PTZ Optics was also nominated for Best Pan-Tilt Zoom Camera, so I wish both of our companies the best of luck there. We kind of dove into a little bit about the future. I do think that we kind of just talked about it. I mean, one IP cable, isn't that kind of the dream? Just one connection to your video. Same thing for audio, same thing for your TriCaster, right?
Well, it is, but to me, we're very focused right now on that cable and how the video is interchanged over that cable. And yet 5 or 6 years from now, we will not be thinking about how it's interchanged because it will just work. So maybe more exciting is not what the fact of being on IP is how that's going to work, which is what I think a lot of us at the moment are kind of talking about, but what it's going to allow people to do. And I think, so certainly when you're thinking about cameras and you're thinking about, TriCasters, and one of the big limitations of shows right now is how many sources you can have, how easy it is to add sources, and moving to IP is going to completely change that. So, right now, if you're doing a sports show, for instance, and you have PTZ optics cameras or PTZ cameras of any kind, you're pretty much limited by how many cameras you can wire into your installation, how many cameras you can hook up to your system and make work. And so the scalability and the kind of shows that you can produce are going to be limited. You have to think, when we get to a world where you can take a camera and all you do is hook it onto a Ethernet jack somewhere in the building, you can have new cameras whenever you want to cover a new angle on something, whenever you want, a different view, if you want to cover a different kind of show. Adding cameras is going to become very, very easy. This is, by the way, why you guys are very much in the right business. The moment you bring IP and cameras, suddenly you're no longer limited to just cameras, and the PTZ is really important as well, because the problem with adding lots of cameras is operators. And that is why PTZ cameras are so much more important. You don't need an operator for them. And so the combination of IP, PTZ, to me, are huge directions that we're going in, and they're going to enable all sorts of new shows, because you're no longer limited to just how many cameras you could bring in, and it makes it very easy to extend your show, to start doing new things in your shows, to just add cameras and work with cameras in ways that weren't possible before. And I think that is very much where we're all headed.
Well, thank you so much. That's all the time we have today. If you can hang around for just 10-15 minutes, we're going to have an open Q&A. I'm going to roll the credits, and thank you so much, Andrew. This has been super.
My pleasure.
Okay, we are back in the post-show where we answer your questions on YouTube Live. I have with me Andrew Cross, and we have a ton of questions. So let me scroll through here and try to pick out a few. Looks like one of your customers is here. He runs a 460 setup with 4 HD SDI runs in an arena. He has live text and replay together, and they're very happy with the setup, but they're concerned about the upgrading to advanced and potentially having to upgrade hardware. I don't know much about the 460. Maybe I guess you would know a little more about that.
Well, it's going to depend if they are an upgraded 450 that upgraded to 460. But generally speaking, something that we have always, and this came right back to the first thing you asked me, I mean, our goal has always been to make our technology accessible to people. And, although he should check with whoever his local reseller is or check with NEWTEK, there is a really good chance that he's just going to be able to upgrade to advanced using as a software upgrade. Generally speaking, our goal is to allow people who bought our systems potentially 5, 6, 7 years ago to continue to use the latest technology today. And we work really hard on I mean, it's actually quite remarkable. I was just highlighting this to somebody just yesterday, how if you look at what the product was when they bought it and how far and how much more it does today without them ever having to upgrade anything, that's something we pride ourselves with. So my best guess is that he would be able to upgrade it. He should probably check with somebody who actually knows the specifics of his installation, but my best guess is that he can.
Okay. Next question here is Chad Lafarge is asking, he's saying, please ask Andrew how long before we'll have an NDI to send directly from a mobile device?
Hey, actually, I'm not just testing my texting here. I'll do something better for you. Here you go. This is basically it. This is NDI camera basically running on my iPhone. It is about to be launched for Android, iOS here really soon. We're somewhat at the mercy of the app stores in terms of the authorization process and getting all that online. But the answer, I mean, this almost could have been a planted question. The answer is within days, not months.
Wow, well, there's a good question. I'm glad they asked about that. In fact, he's asking if there could potentially be some type of NDI 2.0. Is that so like in the progress, or is it just NDI is what NDI is and it's just continually evolving, or are there actual like 2.0, 3.0 plans?
So we actually announced at IBC what we're calling NDI 2.0, which does include new functionality, and it's actually, I should be clear, it's completely backwards compatible. So version 1 works with 2, 2 works with 1, so it's both directions compatible. You don't need to upgrade anything. There's no compatibility problems. And in fact, this is, one of the biggest reasons that we have kept NDI largely as an SDK instead of just publishing the protocol, is that it enables us to progress it very quickly. It allows us to maintain compatibility, so we don't need to have testing every device against every other device to check that it performs well. We don't need an interop zone. It's all just going to work together, which is actually part of the magic of NDI. So we do have an NDI 2, and it does add a bunch of new stuff. I'm sure that you can get the details on our website. We announced that at IBC. The SDK is about to go into beta. There's a couple of people already using it and already producing apps with it. About to happen really quickly here.
Wonderful, and I think they're asking a little bit more about the NDI mobile applications. They're asking if there's a beta program potentially, or if the SDK will include anything with the mobile.
So we have a mobile SDK. So part of NDI 2.0 is we announced a mobile SDK so that vendors who want to generate NDI feeds from mobile applications, they can do that through the SDK. So that you kind of have two sides of things. You have the SDK, and then you have the tools that go along with NDI. And I would say that the mobile apps themselves, so our camera apps that make basically NDI available to anybody who has pretty much any mobile device at this point. Those are released separate from the SDK, so that any end user can use them who wants to.
Cool. And just a couple more questions. It seems like they're asking about the minimum recommended upload bandwidth if they want to do streaming, and also what the NDI bandwidth is actually taking up on the local area network. Okay,
so it's hard to give a single one answer, one soundbite answer to that, because it depends on a number of things. I think a good benchmark is you need in the ballpark of 100 megabits per stream. You should, it's always better to assume that you want slightly more than that if you can, but that's a good ballpark. So that's what a 1080i signal would typically take. So, if you want to go up to 4K, it's going to take a bit more than that. If you're doing SD, it's going to take a bit less than that. Typically, you also have to if you're trying to do the calculations to work out how many streams you can carry, you need to assume that your network, even 1 gigabit, you're only going to get to about 80% efficiency. So you can get, I always say you can get in the ballpark of 8 streams per 1 gigabit. Feel free to hook up faster networks, hook up multiple network ports. There's lots of ways to get more bandwidth.
Chad Lafarge is telling me to give you his thanks for answering his question. Roberto Levano is asking, does he need a separate Wowza cloud account in order to take advantage of the NDI integration that you have created?
So the Wowza integration, that is a separate product currently. We work closely with them, and Wowza are working with us on NDI. It's hard to, in a generic way, answer his question. He should email us or email Wowza. I'm sure we can work out exactly what he wants to do and give him an answer to that. I'm not sure exactly, I can't give the complete correct answer.
That's a good point. The question's a little vague. Another question here. They're asking about, can NDI be used over Wi-Fi 802.11 AC? Is that possible?
Yes, it can. So obviously our mobile app has to be over Wi-Fi, and it does work over Wi-Fi. Working over Wi-Fi does require some care though, and the biggest problem that we have in a practical sense seen over Wi-Fi is that when you have, so even if you have an AC network, if you have a another mobile device on that network that is not doing full AC. It can pull the whole speed of the network down so that even a high-performing device doesn't perform that well. So Wi-Fi, it requires some care, but you can do it over Wi-Fi just fine.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were talking about that, and they're asking, okay, so if Wi-Fi works, what about the wide area network? Are there any solutions for connecting Hong Kong to New York, for example, with NDI?
So there is a bunch of ways of doing that. So obviously, if you have enough bandwidth, of which plenty of people do, you can just, you can rent bandwidth. So if you're in a broadcast type environment, you can rent the bandwidth and you can run NDI over very long distances relatively easily. Certainly, when you compare it to the price of renting satellite time, it's almost free. If you want to go over the wide area network at very low cost, there are some solutions out there, and like NDI Cloud from Sienna, that's a cool product. You should go and check that out. But there are a number of other companies and a number of other solutions that are going to either provide that functionality today or in the future. But there are solutions today for people who want them.
Well, that is very interesting, because I know everyone's trying to basically take what you've created and push it to the limits. I'm sure you're used to that. We want to do it over Wi-Fi. We want to do it over the wide area network.
It's funny because I get questions, we get questions from broadcasters who say, what the heck? 100 megabits, that's way too compressed. And then you have people at the other end of the spectrum who are trying to send it over the internet who are going, oh my gosh, 100 megabits, that is just a huge amount of bandwidth. So it seems that, some people want it higher, some people want it lower, in the middle. I think that, ultimately what's going to happen over time is that there are going to be good solutions to all of those problems. I expect we have targeted where we see the big opportunity. The big opportunity is enabling the middle level of broadcast to do IP video, and that is what NDI is for. And I think that people are always going to try to pull it up and pull it down into the low end and up into the high end, and those are things that we will get there. NEWTEK are actively pursuing those things, and you can look, we're at NDI 2.0 after a year. We're about to do mobile apps. You can look at the number of people who are using it. You can expect it to do more and more and more. Just take the pace that it's already gone through and extrapolate that forward, and you should expect it to do lots more very quickly.
Here's a question we get a lot, and I get this question a lot. When are TriCasters going to be ready for 4K?
Oh, I have to defer on that, I'm afraid. We just don't talk about future products. This is what I will say, which is, if look at where I would invite anybody to look at where TriCaster was just 2 years ago, and look how far it's come in just 2 years. And then NEWTEK are. I always say, for those who come and watch my presentations at NAB, I kind of pride myself by saying, look, in the last year, we've done more than we've ever done before. I want to see us accelerating our pace of innovation, not even keeping constant with what we've done in the past. So just assume that whatever we're going to do, and whenever we do it, it's going to be groundbreaking and probably take people by surprise. Now, we innovated in IP. We're giving an IP workflow when probably, if you go back a year and a half before NDI was announced, most people would have said, IP, that's off in the 5-10 year time frame. Now we're already talking about it today, and a lot of people are using it today. Just assume that we're going to be pushing the limits no matter what. That is safe to assume, and whatever comes after 4K, it'll be the same. It's our goal, and what we're good at is innovation. We're going to continue doing that. So that's the answer that I will give.
Well, thank you, and I get that question a lot too. And our kind of answer to that is we're waiting for. Kind of from what you've said, a little bit of a similar answer, where we're waiting for it to become affordable and practical, but also push the boundaries of what the things that we have on the docket already, like power over Ethernet with a 1080p 60 camera, I feel like is more important than a 4K camera where we didn't even finish PoE yet. So there's obviously like a progressions that you just have to take. And with NEWTEK NDI, like you said, I mean, you got to get it out there, and then you find out a million different ways of people using it, and it's just, you guys are breaking the borders. It's amazing.
Well, look, here's the thing. It all boils down to, and I think that PTZ Optics like us, you sit back and you go, okay, there are all these buzzwords out there. What are the things that are going to change the lives for your customers, our customers? And IP, look, it doesn't matter where 4K goes, it's going to be over IP. Actually, this is a huge thing. I mean, if you look at our NDI2 announcements, we're already talking about 4K and NDI2. So if you get onto NDI, you get onto IP, you're ready for 4K in many ways. So it's just one of the things that are going to change our customers' lives. If we give them 4K, cameras are 4K and monitors are 4K, but nothing between them really is 4K. You can't get the content around yet. So you have to think, okay, so until we can bring a solution that really enables it for people, that's not the best thing that's going to change their lives. And so, just like our Ethernet, that changes the way you will use your cameras today. That stuff matters. That makes a difference. And I, like yourselves, I think, want to focus on the things that can really make a difference for people today, and to make sure that we're staying true to a vision of where innovation really is going, of which 4K absolutely will be part of it. But let's be doing things that really matter today.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I want to give everyone a last chance. If you have a burning question, ask it now, because I know Andrew's got to go. I want to respect his time. We already did a 20-minute show. This has been about a 20-minute Q&A. There's a couple more questions coming in. Verdant Art is saying some use cases with VoyoCam and NDI. Where do you think that this might be used? I don't know. I'm having trouble turning that into a question.
I'm afraid I don't know how to answer that. Shoot us an email. I'll get him an answer if he tells me what he's interested in, and we'll work out how we can do it.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, some people are saying in here that 4K does matter today, and that cable companies are already compressing 4K content at 40:1. So again, guys, I think it's coming. I mean, I can even say that PTZ Optics has plans for 4K as well. It's just, it's one bowling pin down, then the next, and then the next. You can't rush everything. Trying to think if I had any last questions for you. I think that we really covered everything. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you everyone who's been out there watching, asking questions. We appreciate it. Andrew, I hope we can have you on again, maybe in a year or so, after you've done a million other innovating and groundbreaking things.
It'll take a year before we do that.
Yeah, I know, you're right. Maybe I'll need to have you on every quarter. Who knows? But again, thank you so much for coming. This has been one of the most exciting shows we've ever had.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you everyone out there. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you, NEWTEK. Thank you, YouTube, for hosting all of this. And that's our show. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Andrew.